You're listening to After the Review with Peter and Terrell. New episodes of our podcast are available every Tuesday afternoon on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean. If you like our content, remember to comment, share, and subscribe, and enjoy the episode. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is After the Review with Peter and Terrell. I'm your host, Peter, and with me this week is our friend Matt. Matt filling in for Terrell, because I haven't heard from Terrell since Monday night. You know, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, but I did see a story of a man streaking in downtown Seattle in red and yellow body paint, so maybe that was him. Matt, say what's up.
What's up going on? What's going on, guys? You know, wouldn't surprise me if that was him, to be honest.
I know. I mean, when your team wins the Super Bowl, you got to go hard. So let's get into this game right away. I know everybody watched. What was your first takes of the game, how it started off?
Man, it was honestly, I feel like it was the two best teams were playing in the Super Bowl, so that was an exciting thing for me. And it kind of felt like the 49ers had a really good game plan. Just Shanahan likes to run that zone running scheme, and he has Deebo Samuel, and so Deebo Samuel is kind of their gadget guy. They got him going early and often. I saw
a lot of that, a lot of not letting Jimmy G throw the ball early with them scripted plays.
Right. It really felt like when they were passing, it was strictly on play action, and it wasn't anything like drop back shotgun or anything, because Shanahan doesn't trust Jimmy G or something. It just kind of feels like
I don't know. So Kansas City got the ball first. You had the 3 and out, which we kind of Kansas City has started slow all 3 games in the playoffs now, so they were kind of looking to avoid that. They'd get the 3 and out. San Francisco goes pretty much right down the field, but Chiefs bend don't break defense, gets the stop, holds them to the field goal, and then Andy Reid did a really good job putting a drive together, I thought, for the Chiefs to respond with that 7.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Patrick just, he came out a little shaky. It felt like
they were definitely both QBs were a little shaky for sure. Right.
Let me try to find the scoring drive, but I feel like that Damian Williams was kind of like
they were. That's what my notes said. They were running it pretty comfortably early.
Yeah, it felt like he was kind of the X factor for the game. He's kind of. I don't really know his story. I think he's from the Heat, or not the Heat. Geez, the Dolphins, right? And so he kind of just got.
He was cut. He was cut from Oklahoma in 2013. I know that. Yeah. So he had long road there, and
absolutely.
Filling in for Kareem Hunt. But that was that drive. They picked up that 4th down where they ran that play from like the 1948 Rose Bowl where they all lined up and then they rotated over, which was really cool. Looking at the goal line, which I loved it. And then Mahomes, they ran they ran like the straight option for the touchdown. And Mahomes gave a little shimmy shake into the end zone, shook out the DB.
That was very nasty. Pat Mahomes is just an artist, man. I feel like he's got a lot of Brett Favre in him, and then just a little bit more athletic. So he's truly special talent for sure.
And so they go up 7-3, and you're thinking, okay, this is gonna be. It was a little bit high scoring for most Super Bowls in the first quarter, because Super Bowls tend to start out really, really slow, just with everything. And then Jimmy G threw the terrible interception on the next drive, setting Casey right up for another scoring drive, and it looked like, could this be, the moment? Jimmy G, terrible pick. We were, Terrell was talking about that, worried about it, but then San Fran kind of, they held their own, gave up the field goal, and then they came right back down the field with that huge touchdown response drive where, like you said, they were really just gashing them all day. I think they were averaged like 6 yards a carry in this game.
Yeah, I think I saw 6.5, I think.
Yeah,
and so like
it's ridiculous.
Like
you're sitting at 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3 most of the time.
Yeah, then you can just bang off the play action with Jimmy G, and it's generally going to be there, because obviously they're going to, expect the run. So, why wouldn't they? So that Jimmy G interception was terrible. I think he was trying to throw it out of bounds, but
avoid the. I know there was a pitcher. His eyes were completely shut when he threw that ball. I was just like, oh God.
Shoot, yeah. I mean, he let it fly, and it was right into Breeland's hand. Breeland had a good game, though. I feel like he was making some really good plays.
Yeah, he was, especially since it seemed like the Honey Badger on the other side of the back end was like always late to a play and like getting in people's faces and barking. I don't know what was going on with him. I was like, calm down, like, dude, you're gonna get flagged.
he was super animated, and then I know he was really animated on the sideline. Like he was just, getting after people's asses on the sideline.
Well, things were not looking so hot for the Chiefs towards
Hey,
in that game
yeah,
for a moment there.
yeah, no doubt, no
But
doubt.
so San Fran gets that stop. The KC offense kind of sputters out right before half, and I think it was right at the 2-minute warning. And San Fran has all 3 timeouts, and then they don't take a timeout. Like, what is Shanahan doing there? Like, they're just content to go into the half tied at 10 with.
Yeah, I think I read like a quote where he said, I think he said this. He said something like, "Yeah, I didn't want to give him the opportunity to have all that time at the end of the half or something like that." And I was like, "What? Like, what do you
Like, yeah, it
mean?
was a
Like,
minute 40, and you have 2 timeouts. Like, you're running for 6 yards a pop. You can't, maybe run,
yeah,
see what's going on, make them
yeah,
use
get
their
the
timeouts, But then, so it looks like they're going to go sit on the ball. They're content to go to half. I know Terrell was freaking out. I was like, I can't believe they're doing this. Like, holy smokes. And then Andy Reid's old ass calls a timeout with 19 seconds left. Like, what are you doing, Andy? Like, I understand you have Mahomes and stuff, but he calls it with 19 seconds left on 3rd down. And they pick up like 30 yards, I think, on that 3rd down to kind of get him into field goal range. Or get him set up to maybe run another play to get into field goal range. And then
right.
the Kittle PI happens when Jimmy G actually connects on a really nice ball to Kittle to get him to the 20.
Yeah.
But did you
Yeah,
like that
man.
call?
That was, I feel like it's OPI, but I feel like you don't call,
Yeah,
like,
I get what you're saying. It's kind of like you like
yeah,
it if it's your team and you don't really like it.
right,
Like if it's against
right.
you, you're not a huge fan of that. But if you're like on defense, like, oh yeah, you pushed off.
Right. It kind of felt like that was like it looked way worse, slowed down type thing.
Like
Like,
it wasn't as much of a push, or it was more of a
right.
push, slow down.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It looked like way more of a push slowed down to me. And
Yeah,
what was that? That was in the third quarter,
no, it
right?
was right before the half. It was right before the half. So
Okay,
they got
right.
the big pass. So they were looking to, maybe get the field goal to go up 13-10 instead of 10-10. Troy Aikman liked the call.
Of
I
course he
think
did.
because it's a tight
Oh
end,
wait, no.
you're going to get that
Never
call.
mind.
Big old Kittle, big man. He's going to he's bench pressing a corner,
Right.
basically. It's a little different. No way a receiver gets that call because they're a little bit better at doing that. So
Yeah.
I liked the call when it happened. I just, it kind of sucked. So we go into the half 10-10, kind of like, all right, what's going on? What's going to happen here? Both teams kind of didn't play great. So it's like, are you happy? Neither team's probably really happy or anything. And then we got the halftime show, which was the whole thing on its own. But
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It was very entertaining, I would say.
yes, I was not complaining. The combined 93 years between J-Lo and Shakira was not an issue at any point.
No, no, absolutely not. Me and old Steve were watching, and I think I was maybe enjoying it more than Steve.
Oh,
So,
I'm sure. I can imagine Steve wasn't a huge fan of that show. But hey, the ultimate meme was born with Shakira doing her little tongue thing. That's
oh my gosh,
we're gonna see that forever. Like that's
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. I saw Joey Gallo for the Rangers. I think you may have saw me retweet that. I said who did it better or something like that. And of course, it was a great meme. So, yeah,
So yeah, we get that. So we come out of the half. San Fran comes out of the half, and they go right down the field, moving the ball pretty comfortably. But the Chiefs again hold, bend, don't break, give up the field goal. They're down 3, and then this is really where the line for San Fran started taking over.
right, right. It felt like they kind of just started dominating on the ground, and they kind of got Mostert going a little bit, and I forgot who's that other Mostert and Coleman. It
Coleman,
felt like
yeah.
Mostert and Coleman kind of, yeah, they really started firing, started going, and just getting a lot of yards, uh, just popping them, gashing them,
And then
and
they were giving Jimmy G all day to throw, it felt like. So
yeah,
when they did throw the ball, he had no sort of pressure, real easy for him, to throw. And then that D-line, Nick Bosa was too much for Kansas City.
and Nick Bosa's I forgot I was listening to some guy on a podcast. He tried to say he thought Nick Bosa was going to be a bust, and like I just did not see that.
Kind of like
I was
Joey.
like,
Both. Once
yeah,
Joey made it, we kind of knew it was like, okay,
right,
he's probably not a bust because we thought Joey might be a bust the first time around, but
right, right.
and
But Nick
everything.
Bosa's just like just a specimen.
He's
Like,
better. Yeah,
yeah,
he's better than Joey for sure.
right. And so, yeah, he just dominated the whole game. I feel like every time Patrick was, dropping back or doing something, like Nick Bosa was like creating pressure, making him, roll to the right or something. Like I
just
just feel like he was
very
disrupting.
they were not giving Mahomes any sort of time. And this is where I get into the whole, I know Terrell probably scream if I bring this up, about the whole Kittle Kelsey thing, because
Right.
they couldn't keep Kelsey in to help protect. They had they were trying to chip with Damian Williams. They really couldn't do anything, and it was a real issue. So this is where the
Right.
whole Kittle Kelsey thing comes in, because if it's Kelsey could block like that, he could lock it up. And then Mahomes throws that bad interception. I don't
Yeah,
know
I would.
what he was
Man,
doing there.
yeah, he let that go, and I was like, "What are you doing, Patrick?" And it just went right to, I think it was Warner, right? Was that the guy's name?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
just sitting
and
there, like sitting right in front of Tyreek Hill,
yes,
like
that's like something I would do or something in an
yeah,
intramural game.
and at that point it felt like, oh no, are things about to start coming unraveled, because San Francisco's controlling both lines, offensive and defensive. Mahomes makes the bad throw. He's looked bad. I mean, to this point, he's looked pretty bad all game. Not having any sort of sharpness to his game, and then San Fran punches it in again to go up 10, and it's like, oh, things are getting a little dicey here.
Right, because it feels like, what are we at? Like,
Like 2 minutes left in the third
five,
quarter. Like the third quarter just
yeah,
melted.
yeah, and it was just like boom, 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 and like we said, like San Francisco was just kind of just gashing them and just run the clock, and so really, yeah, Patrick never felt like he ever got in a rhythm. Yeah, and just he was disrupted the whole game. I feel like he was super amped up. I said that earlier, like just kind
Way
of just,
Yeah, just way too
yeah,
into it a little bit. And then he started,
right,
I don't
right,
and then you could see it later. He was starting to short arm balls that he was missing, because he was afraid, like feeling the pressure up the middle that Bosa, where they
right,
were getting with those inside stunts. He was kind of like not stepping into his throws really. And then so
right.
they put the little bit of a drive together, and it's like, okay, maybe they're doing, and then they throw the pick. I don't think it wasn't a perfect ball from Patrick, but I thought Hill's got to catch that ball.
Right.
It was a
You
little
know,
behind him. He wasn't running a full slant. He was kind of sitting in the zone, and it just tipped off his hand right to the DB. And then Terrell texted me. He's like, GG, it's over. I was like, oh, no. I
yeah,
was,
no, like, yeah, I feel like if Hill's getting paid all that money, you got to make that catch. Like, um,
it,
yeah, it was a little behind him, but yeah, you just got to come down with that. He's their number one player, and you try to get the ball to your best players, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, it was just, yeah, I thought the game was over after that as well. Like, I literally was like, damn, GG, like, it's game over. And, like, I didn't want to say that to my buddy Bryce or Terrell, but, like,
yeah, it's looking really bad. Like, we're going to, like, San Fran's they're going to just assert their dominance. And even Troy Aikman said, we're about to get a heavy dose of the run. And then all of a sudden, again, San Francisco just starts throwing the ball. I saw this stat. They had the lead for 14 plays in the fourth
right,
quarter. 14 plays. They threw the ball 9 times. Like, what are you doing? You're running for 6.5 a pop, as you said, at this point. Like, you need to start gashing them. And so they're a little off. The Chiefs get the stop, and then it's like,
right,
okay, here comes Mahomes, right? This is his moment. He's gonna do it. And then they get that Tyreek Hill catch overturned on 2nd and 15. He picks it up, and it kind of
right,
squirted through his hands on another ball. He he short hopped it to Hill. And
right,
so they're looking at that 3rd and 15, and then Mahomes took like was in the shotgun, takes like a 9-step drop, like, and just
yeah,
heaves it. And then you always get that feeling, right? When you see Mahomes just throw,
right,
it's like somebody's there, right? Like, he's got him. Like,
yeah,
he
yeah.
knows.
Yeah, it's that meme. It's like, F it,
Yeah,
Tyreek Hill's down there somewhere.
yeah, I got it. It's like, it's there. So I was like, oh, he's got him. Like, it just, like,
Yeah,
I didn't even see it. And he took a really nice shot on the play, too, from Bosa. So, and of course, sure
yeah,
enough, Tyreek Hill finally got past the secondary in that zone. They ran a nice little route combo, ran a little dig underneath, and he spun the safety around, so there was no corner underneath, and the safety got all sorts of confused, which, they call that man the cheetah for a reason, Tyreek Hill. So he hits the big, like, 40-yarder, and then that's where it kind of looked like, uh-oh, here they come, right?
right. And geez, I'm watching the play right now. I'm like, how do you get behind? I know that it almost felt like they're in prevent.
A,
And
a little bit. They only had the one high safety right there, and
right,
he
yeah,
turned the safety around on that
right,
backside, and the corner they ran. It was a nice little design, and so they were playing. Yeah, I think they were expecting Kansas City to maybe check down a little bit and then go for it on 4th down. Make it like 4th and manageable, because
right.
down 10 you're going for it,
And
and
then
so
and then
yeah,
Pat, they run that play with the Travis Kelce, and obviously it was a DPI on the 1 yard line, and Like, well, I mean, what a smart play by Pat, honestly, because that guy had no intention of turning around.
Yeah,
So,
he missed that throw a little bit. My dad hates that call, and I get it. But why? If the DB doesn't jump, I don't think they call it. You know, like
right,
because
right.
Kelsey didn't really come back through him. Like the DB didn't really touch him or anything. But the DB jumped because he was, like you said, clueless, lost, had no idea what was going on. And
Yeah,
then
he was draped all over him.
and my dad was like, "Oh, I hate that." I was like, "Well, if Mahomes throws it like 3 feet higher, it's where exactly it is. You throw it right at the back of the DB's nameplate, and Kelsey just picks it over the top of him because he knows he's not looking. Like that's exactly where you
Right,
want to throw that ball. Because I mean, Kelsey's probably not out. It's not Tyreek Hill where you're trying to hit it the back, run by the corner and hit it. You're trying to throw that kind of ball where Kelsey can go just moss on somebody like a beast.
right. Yeah, I mean, that drive was unbelievable. I mean, I was, what, 2 minutes, 40 seconds, 10 plays, 83 yards. I mean, that's
Yeah,
exactly what
and
you
they
want.
still got it. They still struggle a little bit, wasn't it? They scored on third down, didn't they? Third and goal.
Yeah, it was, yeah, third and goal. Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
I mean, Niners were still holding, so they got the touchdown. It's like, okay, they cut it back to 3. They're like, here we go. Here comes another heavy dose of San Fran running the ball. And then,
Right.
of course, they start throwing the ball again. And I think they had that's the one, like, Chris Jones, like, swatted a ball, I think. And they got the 3 and out real quick and got the ball right back into Pat's
Yeah,
hands. And it's like, oh, God. Well, not oh, God. It's like, oh, you dug your own grave at this point.
for sure. Yeah. And then what happens again is for Casey for 5 yards. Yeah. And so they're just kind of like chipping, a little bit here, a little bit there. And then they hit the big play to Sammy Watkins off of Sherman. Sherman's in this, I'm like, no, he was in man on
No,
that play,
yeah, that
right?
was so great. Like the whole thing
Yeah.
with Sherman and Revis talking that about. Like I saw Jason Willock, Mr. Chiefs fan, and he loves saying he's like Darrell Revis, rolling a blunt, cackling his ass off because he just got. I mean, Richard Sherman did not have a good game, and he got
No.
absolutely toasted. And Terrell called it his X factor. Sammy Watkins, and he was having a really good game to that point. Seemed like the only guy that was catching anything early to kind of keep him in
Right.
it. And
With
so
Pat, it kind of felt like Pat didn't have a great game until like the fourth quarter, which,
it's
late
of
flag.
course though, right? Like scary.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's arguably had the worst game of his career. Like his young career, he's had
yeah.
having the worst 3.5 quarters. He's getting dominated. He looks like just another kind of average
Joe
Joe.
Schmo.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's like, oh, let me turn it on for the last 6 minutes. Oh, I'm gonna take
Oh,
care
let me
of
try
this.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me try. I'll spot you a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. Super
Yeah.
Bowl, 6 minutes
Yeah.
left. Whatever. I don't care.
See, that was kind of the thing when, even though they were down 10, I was like, well, like, I feel like the game's over. Back in my mind, I'm like, well, it's Pat Mahomes. Like, if it's somebody else, like,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
I feel
you're
like Russell
feeling it,
Wilson
but
kind
it's
of
like
does that to me too.
nothing you've shown. Like your eyes are telling you the complete opposite, right? Like just how
Right, right,
dominant San Fran's kind of looking, and that's been San Fran's all year. Like they turn it up in the second half, and
right.
they just lean on you with that. But of course, and then we have they call it the Air Jordan touchdown, where Damian Williams punched it in on that little third down swing pass to him. Again, Richard Sherman face down into missed the tackle, and I think he was. I think that was a good call, right? He was in for sure, right? If they call him short, they
Yeah.
overturn that, right?
Yeah, I was talking to my dad, and when they called it a touchdown, I was like, that's absolutely a touchdown. And then even when I saw the replay, I was like, there's no way you can overturn that. Like, once you call it a touchdown, like, it's just kind of like, yeah,
Yeah, it was in. I think he had enough of the ball over from that angle, like when his
right,
foot hit. It wasn't like the nose of the ball was scraping the front of the goal line. It was just so I was okay with it. Maybe the field guy painted it extra thick. The lines were a little thick. Got that ball over, break the plane.
right,
So
right.
did you see that every touchdown in this game was scored in the same end zone? It was all scored in that Niners end zone.
Oh, no, I did not
Yeah,
know that.
yeah,
Interesting.
no touchdown scored in the other end zone. Like that's gotta suck if you're on the other end zone. Like you got no
Yeah,
action in the Super
so
Bowl
boring.
coming your
Right,
way. You only spent half your life savings on a freaking
right.
trip to Miami to get a ticket, hotel, airfare, and it's like,
You got no action.
yeah, you
Yeah.
can't see like anything. You're like at field level. Oh man, I can't imagine. So yeah, Chiefs get the lead with like 2:40 left, and this is it. This is Jimmy G's moment, right? And I said
Right.
before, I was like, I trusted Chiefs D. I text Terrell. Terrell's like, I'm still nervous. Like, oh no shit, Terrell, wow, You're nervous for the Super Bowl? Who would have guessed?
I'm shocked.
He's
Yeah,
like,
man.
yeah.
I wanted to text him, and then I was like, nah, like I don't want to bother him. Like I know how stressed he is. Like I
I
can't do
was
that to him.
texting him.
Yeah.
Like, he texted me before the game. He's like, I'm too nervous. And I'm like, dude, take a shot. He's like, I'm too nervous to take a shot. I'm like, take 2 shots. And so he said he told me he was like, I'm pacing back and forth right now when the Niners have the ball. Like, he said he was at a house party and he was like timing his walk around the house so like he could see the TV, like turn the corner and see the play as it's happening. And he's like constantly scrolling on his phone to see if it updates before the TV just because like that natural delay or whatever.
Right.
He's like, I'm losing my mind. I was like, oh my God, you're going insane, dude. Like, it's okay.
He lost his mind. Right.
I just, like, we could so imagine Terrell, like, he turns the corner, sees the play, he's like, ah, shit.
Yeah, oh, dude. Yeah, exactly. I've seen Terrell pace a couple times, so I'm not surprised by this behavior at all.
So, but then Jimmy G, they come out, they run the ball a little bit more. There's 2 minutes left. They throw, he's throwing okay. They get the ball to midfield. They got 1st and 10, minute 46 left, 2 timeouts in midfield. It's like, all right, this is it, right? You'll take this. Like, here we go.
For sure.
And then they proceed to do absolutely nothing. They run the ball. I think they ran the ball for 5 yards on 1st down. Take another tip pass incomplete. And then they take another ball that's almost intercepted, and it's like, like, game's out. Like, you know what happens when you miss, like, the defense misses a play like that, like, huge play for the offense, right?
Right, yeah.
And so, yeah, Kyle Shanahan actually draws up a unbelievable play on this third and long.
I was just about to say, yeah. And Jimmy G just wet the bed or something, and he just sailed him by
it wasn't even close. Like, Emmanuel Sanders got behind the defense. He had 2 steps on the guy and 6 yards. Jimmy G made Kirk Cousins look calm in the,
Absolutely.
My man Kirk would hit that throw.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
So, and then 4th down, he just takes a sack. Frank Clark finally shows up in this game. They paid him, this is what they got Frank Clark for. He gets a sack on 4th down. Jimmy G doesn't even get rid of the ball. And it's like, I text Terrell. I was like, all right, you need 10 yards to break out the cigars. And then Damian Williams just, says, I got it real quick.
Yeah, and I forgot, someone was like, man, like, he should have just went down. Like, nah, Super Bowl, man, you run that in.
Yeah, Terrell was like, I was doing math in my head. Like, should he go down? Like, I just heard a huge roar, and I was like, oh, go down. Like, oh, shit, go down. And I was like, no, dude, you score that. You're up 11 in the Super Bowl. You punch that hoe in. It's like even Brandon Jacobs, what was that, in 2011 against the Patriots, he tried to stop himself, but his momentum just carried him into the end zone, and he fell in backwards.
I remember that. Yeah, like, shoot, if that's me, it's Super Bowl. Like,
you just put the icing on the cake. You're up 11. It put you up 2 scores. You really put them, out of their misery. So now Pat Mahomes, down 10 in the 4th quarter, in 6 minutes, has basically scored 21 unanswered points, which is unheard of.
It's unreal. Yeah, he's just a magician, and like, I watched him at Texas Tech, and like he made all these unreal plays and whatnot. And so I kind of, I figured some of it would translate. I didn't think it would translate like this to where he's just unreal. Like just he can make anything happen.
I love bringing this up because you were there for this draft when we were sitting there at y'all's apartment, and I was banging on the table for Mahomes, and then we thought Casey traded up. We're like, oh, they're taking Deshaun Watson. Terrell was so happy, and then they took Mahomes. Like, hey, don't worry about it. Andy Reid knows. If that's Andy Reid's guy, he's the guy. And
right.
So I didn't know he would be this good. He's a freak. Could you have a better start to your career? He's 24 years old. He's won an MVP. He's won a Super Bowl MVP, a Super Bowl, obviously, for the first time in 50 years for his franchise.
Right.
And then, shoot, he was maybe a coin flip away last year to maybe having 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, he's just... Honestly, it couldn't happen to a better franchise family and better coach, and so.
Oh yeah, Andy Reid finally getting it. It felt good.
And it feels like Pat Mahomes just kind of fits that fan base, that city.
Just like we've been. They're one of the beaten and struggling franchises that have had to deal with a lot of crap and playoff collapses left and right, and all sorts of nonsense. And now they have the guy, and hopefully, people are looking. They might be going on a little bit of a run here.
Yeah, I just don't see how they don't. I mean, you got Pat, you got Tyreek, and you got Travis. I feel like anything's possible.
Well,
And so,
they did it right. You got that first Super Bowl under Mahomes' rookie contract because
right,
Mahomes is probably going to get a ridiculous contract. Maybe not as ridiculous as people think, because I could see him taking a little bit. Everybody starts taking a discount once you win a Super Bowl to come back and keep trying to win. And Mahomes is going to make. He's going to be the face. I mean, he's the face of the NFL now. I think at this
right.
point,
I mean,
Brady's gone. I mean, Brady's basically gone. Nobody likes Rodgers. It's kind of him or Russell Wilson, and I think Mahomes is going to be the
yeah,
guy.
yeah. I feel like he's kind of like the Steph Curry of the NFL, just very likable. And you
Game
can put him in
changer.
any commercial, right?
Game
Yeah,
changer. Just
yeah,
ruin the sport just because of what of a freak talent he is.
yeah. He's like a 99 overall, like a created player. I mean, he's unbelievable in every facet of the game, on and off the field. And so, obviously I'm a fan. I have his jersey, so I mean, I'm a fan too. So
Little bit of I mean, you can't not like him. I mean, as I say, the go between is like my mom. If like my mom knows who you are and like likes you, is like, oh, they're like a superstar, and like
right.
she loves her some Patty Mahomes. So
For sure. Yeah. If you have like someone who's not a fan who knows who a
Skip
player is,
Bayless
like
hates
that's,
him.
yeah, I mean, of course he does. He hates everything that's
That's
good.
what I said. I go, Skip
Yeah.
hate everything.
I haven't heard him say, honestly, like, I don't,
Hey man, he likes no. He's a
yeah.
big Baker Mayfield guy.
Yeah. What was he doing on the Super Bowl set, by the way? Like, did you see that? Like he said, when he with Rex Ryan, I didn't like hear what he said. But
Oh,
just
he
kind of
sounded
like,
actually good. I'm gonna give a little Baker a little bit of
yeah,
love. He was actually really good.
yeah,
He sounded really mature. He finally took responsibility for all his interceptions and the terrible season they had.
yeah. And I was listening to this podcast talking about Baker Mayfield in the Caribbean. And he said he looks like this guy's like 35. And he's like, man, he looks like me with a shirt without a shirt on. And he said, Baker, you need to get in that weight room. And I was like, jeez,
Hey,
man.
Baker, enjoying that. There's not a lot to do in Cleveland. You sit around and eat some food. It's cold out. You got to bulk up, survive those tough winters.
No doubt, no doubt. So, but yeah, man, the Super Bowl was, what I thought it would be.
It was great game.
Yeah,
It was
I
just
mean,
a little less scoring.
two elite coaches. We got an elite
uh,
quarterback. Well,
Okay,
elite
so
coach
let me
and a really good coach.
let me go on this Kyle Shanahan rant. Kyle Shanahan
Okay.
has now lost the largest lead in Super Bowl history and the second largest lead in Super Bowl history. 10 points is the second largest comeback in Super Bowl history. So Kyle Shanahan offenses have blown more leads than anybody. He's blown the two biggest leads that have been given up. Like, in the Super Bowl works is you get the lead, you dominate, you win. It's that simple. And I don't know what it is, like, especially when he was so conservative in the first half, like, I'm not going to throw the ball, I'm going to run, kind of run the clock out. And then you go into ultra aggressive with a 10-point lead, throwing the ball 9 out of 14 times, which was a higher rate than the Falcons did when they blew that lead to the Patriots. It's just like,
Right.
I don't understand. I think he outthinks himself and outthinks the room.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, I think, he just, they won't expect like a throw here, but like,
Exactly, right? It's just like sometimes, like,
because
I don't care
I know
if
he's
they
a smart guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and so it's just kind of disappointing because I know like
he's done
how
it twice.
talented of a
Yeah,
play-
and he's done it
Right.
twice now. Like, I thought for sure after doing that with Atlanta, he was gonna go to like, okay, I'm not gonna outthink myself. It's just like, we're gonna run. They know we're gonna run. It's okay. We're gonna pick up our yards.
Right. And the thing that sucks about the one with the Falcons one, like obviously, like he doesn't coach defense
Yeah.
for the Falcons, but at the same time, like, man, you gotta, get a field goal or
Yeah,
something.
score some.
Like, don't
Yeah,
just
score some points. Move the ball a little bit. You can't be doing
Yeah.
Can't be putting 3 and outs out there.
No. And so what was the final? Was that 31-28?
Yeah, in overtime. So they
Right.
they kicked a field goal the rest of the game, I think.
Yeah, and so it's just like he's like really good in the beginning of games sometimes, and like
Yeah, great game.
like
They
his,
came out with a great game plan against the Chiefs.
yeah, and so it's just kind of very disappointing to me, like. Right, like what you just said, like he just outthinks the room sometimes. Like I really can't explain it. It's just like, well, he tries to get too cute at the end of games or something. Like, dude, just ice the game.
Run it. You're going for 6.5 yards a carry. Oh no, it goes down to 4, maybe 5 yards a carry. It's like,
like darn. Yeah.
oh darn. And then maybe you can hit him with a play action. You can throw the ball, but make them think you're running that ball. and it's like and
Absolutely.
they never hit
Yeah.
him with that. And so, Andy Reid loses the moniker of can't win the big one. Finally, he gets that Super Bowl.
Finally.
No doubt Hall of Famer, I think now, right?
Yeah, finally winning the Super Bowl. And then, I think he's above, most of these other Super Bowl winning coaches. And I feel like, and like you said, like there's nothing really going to stop him now. I mean,
Shoot,
you
yeah,
got Pat
he's
Mahomes.
only six. I mean, he's only 61 years old. He could shoot. He
Yeah.
got Pat Mahomes forever.
Yeah. I feel like they might roll off, knock on wood. I don't want to,
Yeah, Jink
for
it, Terrell
Terrell.
freaking out. Yeah, freaking out.
Yeah. And, I'll just say like there shouldn't be,
Yeah, who's?
because Brady's getting older, and then there's no really heir apparent.
I mean,
You
maybe
know,
Baltimore, but we saw
yeah,
Lamar Jackson's 0-2 in the playoffs. Like they just rolled it off. One and done again. You don't.
right.
You don't. Yeah, I don't see any. I mean, I don't trust. You don't trust Houston at all because of Bill O'Brien,
God,
the new GM
what a
of the
disaster.
Texans.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, well, I mean,
Okay.
he kind of already was,
But I guess
you know,
we're gonna roll
yeah,
with the guy who blew a 24
yeah,
point lead in a quarter.
yeah. My man's he's kind of a psycho too, man. Have you seen? I think we talked about this when he was coming back into the tunnel. Did
Yeah,
you
and he
see
like
him?
freaked out at the fan or whatever, yelling at him.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, you're like the head coach. Like, you're not supposed to be doing that. And like, so I don't know. He's just kind of a. I mean, they have Deshaun Watson, so they'll be fine. But like,
Yeah, I don't. I agree with you. I think it'll be. They could be the kings of the AFC. They could go on that New England type run.
for
9 out of 10
sure, like,
on to 9 out of 10 trips to the AFC Championship game or whatever it was. Something ridiculous.
just they have an elite coach, elite GM, elite owner, and just I feel like they just Andy's got it rolling. And the thing that's crazy is like I think in 2013 they had the fifth overall pick or something like that, right? No, was it the first pick?
They had the first. Yeah, was it
Yeah,
2013? Yeah, 2013. They had the first
7 years
overall pick.
ago.
Yeah, they had Eric Fisher. They took Eric Fisher as the
Yeah, and
first
it just
overall
feels like
pick.
it's. I mean, kind of a crazy. I mean, it took 7 years, but like boom, Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. And
and
I
that's
mean,
just
they've been in the
yeah,
playoffs forever. And you got to give Andy Reid maybe made the greatest, move of all time. They had Alex Smith. They were winning the division with Alex Smith. They were in the
right.
playoffs constantly. And he traded up to go get Mahomes and said, I'm going to this kid. And they had a home playoff game with Alex Smith and he let him go. And he said,
Yeah,
we're going Mahomes, unproven, untested.
right.
So,
I was listening to his name's John Metalcoff. It's the guy I listened to, and he was talking about how after I think it was that playoff game, Andy Reid individually was working with Pat Mahomes just to kind of see where he was in the film room, and I think that was kind of like when he figured out, like, yeah, I think Pat Mahomes is ready.
yeah,
And so,
just to be
and I
that
think
guy.
honestly, because Pat, he played baseball, so he kind of has that baseball arm, and I think him being under Alex kind of really helped his mechanics, just kind of really tighten it up a little bit, and I think so. Credit to Alex, probably took it like a champ and whatnot,
Oh,
and so
Alex Smith always be the guy that he's your girl. He's the girl you date, not the girl you marry. And
right,
you
right,
seem to find the next one right after.
like Drew Bledsoe, just kind of like that a little bit.
So,
So
but I did
yeah,
hear that Andy was struck. They were fighting to not bench Alex Smith during that season because of what they saw from Mahomes on the practice field. Like it's like we got to get him out here. Like this guy's unreal. Like because
yeah,
he was
he's
tearing people up on the practice field, but they stuck with Alex Smith, and then he finally made the decision. So that would have been really something if he had pulled him that early.
right. Yeah, that would have been insane because I don't. So that was the 17. No, it was the 18 season. They
Yeah,
went,
they won the division that year.
yeah, 11-5, right, or
Yeah,
something
something
like
like that. So
that.
again,
Yeah.
it's like
How do you
you
justify
almost
it?
never see
Yeah.
that, right? Like we won 11 game, had a home playoff game, and we're going to an unproven rookie essentially.
Right. Yeah. And especially like if you're not from Texas, if you didn't watch the Big 12, like you didn't know much about him either because he didn't go to any bowl games while he was at Tech. I think
Yeah,
they
and
went like
everyone's
4-8.
freaked. They're
Yeah.
like, how did we? Someone's like, I just saw his numbers at Tech. How did he only go? I think he was 13-12 in his 25 starts there, and it was
Yeah.
like he literally had the worst defense in the country.
Yeah. Like it was, God. Yeah. Like I felt bad. Like if he was like literally anywhere else with a competent defense,
Probably,
8-4,
yeah,
9-3.
could have been
Yeah.
playing, maybe had a shot just because of how Much of
It really is.
I mean, his big
Yeah.
game was against Baker, and I think he lost that game like 72-67 or something like that.
Yeah, and he threw like I think for like 500, 600 yards,
Yeah, like
right?
7
And like,
touchdowns, and it was
yeah,
at
like
Jerry World too, I think.
yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. I remember that. And so, well, man, he had a lot of those games where he just looked like a
But it was the
like
Big
an
12. Yeah, it was a
NCAA
video
dynasty.
game numbers. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but it's the Big
NCAA
12.
dynasty. Yeah, right. And so, yeah, man. So, sky's the limit to
Yeah,
me.
I'm
So,
feeling good about them too. You know, maybe I think San Fran's gonna bounce back. I don't know what they do with Jimmy G. I heard like a Tom Brady to San Fran rumor today, which was like,
yeah,
whoa.
yeah. First of all, that Hulu commercial had me on the edge of the seat.
I saw it finally with the
Yeah,
tweet. Oh, because the tweet, everyone was speculating what the tweet was beforehand, like a couple days
right,
before. Oh,
right. And I like leaned up. I was like, "No way is he doing this on TV." And like, and it went. It was like Hulu, the script he just handed me. I was like, "Oh my god!" I like just leaned back. I was like, "Of course, he got me." And so it was probably some kind of hidden message in there. But
um,
honestly, San Francisco, that would kind of yeah, back to San Francisco. But don't they have this kind of weird buyout clause?
they
Like if
do
they,
with Jimmy G. It's like not that expensive to get out
it's
of
like six
Jimmy's.
million, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not expensive to get off of Jimmy G. And Brady's from the Bay Area. He grew up a Niners fan. Like, oh,
yeah.
I
And
mean,
Shanahan's yeah, I feel like they would probably work out really well together. They
just like
got
a
the weapons.
2-year marriage, and try and make a super
Right.
duper. And you could draft another. You could draft a quarterback this year. Develop because it's a pretty deep quarterback draft this year.
Yeah, it's for sure deep. Yeah, got Herbert and Fromm and
Easton,
so yeah.
you get Jakey, you get Love from Utah State's kind of flying up everybody's board. Kind of like Pat
Yeah, I
Mahomes
heard
because he's like Pat Mahomes 2.0, they think.
yeah, he freaking took it to UNT, not this the 19 bowl season. I mean, he just absolutely unloaded on him. And so yeah, I was hearing a lot of stuff about him a while back. And yeah, I think he's fourth right now, Jordan Love
So,
quarterbacks. He's
yeah, that's like four
behind the big three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could see like 4 quarterbacks in the first round, maybe. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, it could be
So you get like a Jake Fromm, get Fromm back you up, and second round pick from the Niners. You got Tom Brady for 2 years, maybe win 2 Super Bowls, and then he's ready to take over, and Brady goes off in the sunset because Tom Brady.
right. Yeah, for sure. I was arguing with a friend about Tom Brady leaving the Patriots, and they were saying like I said, well, first of all, he's been taking pay cuts for what, like 10 years now.
Yeah, forever. And
Yeah,
they gave
yeah,
him dick on that offensive side of the ball right now.
exactly. It's like they don't sign anyone in free agency. They Bill Belichick for whatever reason cannot draft a wide receiver to save his life. And I mean, you
Some
get
positions,
Gronk,
man. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's that
yeah,
playbook. That playbook is too tough.
right. And so like they just don't have anyone who's just like elite at separating. I feel like, and I feel like that's what Tom needs because he's elite,
Yeah,
accurate quarterback. And
he's
so
he's an old man too. And they need some offensive line help. They need a run game. He needs a run game. So yeah,
yeah, and I just
San
feel like
Francisco literally seems like the absolute perfect fit for him. Even though he's not super mobile for that play action game, it's like they're gonna be able to protect him. They're gonna be able to pound the rock. And he's got Debo
right.
Samuel's a guy. They're probably gonna re-sign Emmanuel Sanders. And then he goes to Kittle. And we know Tom Brady throwing to tight ends. He loves his tight ends.
Yeah, and so you got Kittle. Maybe if they possibly drafted this, I mean, this is a super deep wide receiver class
It's
again, or
super,
not again,
super,
but
super deep class. Like you're gonna be
just
getting guys in the 6th round that are probably gonna be coming out of nowhere making an impact.
yeah. I mean, again, like it's kind of like the quarterback class, just like an unreal. Like you got CeeDee Lamb, you got all those dudes, like the
All
20
the
dudes
entire
from
Alabama
Alabama.
receiving core.
Yeah, the 30 dudes from Alabama. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb, Henry Ruggs, like that dude. Oh, that dude from Colorado. I've been hearing about. Yeah, just like it's maybe if they add one more elite wide receiver, maybe a big guy, big target, something like that. I mean, 49ers could be right back in it again next year. I think
Yeah,
they're just kind of missing one more piece.
just hopefully no hangover like the Rams kind of had this year.
Jeez, yeah, like
But the NFC's
yeah,
tough, man. The NFC's tough. We're as deep as it gets in the NFC.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing that make fun of Mike McCarthy all you want. Cowboys might be in it, Vikings might be in it.
I mean, shoot, yeah,
Um,
like look at that. You have the Rams probably going to be back. Maybe you got the Seahawks, the Niners, the Saints if Drew Brees decides to come back.
right.
Who knows what
Rodgers, why is he's playing?
Yeah, who knows what the Falcons are going to look like. The Eagles are going to not be beat up to death, and they're actually going to be healthy. And Carson Wentz won't be throwing to, like you and me out there by the end of the season.
God, yeah, he's throwing a, insurance salesman.
Yeah, so it should be interesting. It should be fun. I'm excited. So.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So thanks for filling in for our missing man Terrell this week, man.
Yeah. Hopefully we find out where he's at or something.
Nah, I think he's okay. If he was dead, he would text me.
You're right.
So,
well, yeah, man. Appreciate you having me on, dog.
Of course, we're probably gonna have you on more often if the people like you. I don't know. They might hate you.
Yeah. Hey, love me or hate me, whatever.
That guy. All right, so. I know the NFL season's over, but we got plenty more stuff to talk about, so we'll be back, and we will see you all next week.